Original reporting. I'm Matt Piper in New York. She joins a laundry list of former President Trump's confidants that the January 6th House Committee is hoping to speak to. Now it's Ivanka Trump. And as CBS's Scott MacFarlane reports, it's over an Oval Office phone call the then president had with his vice president.
This is not a subpoena. The House Select January 6th Committee wants Ivanka Trump to come in voluntarily. And they have specified why they want to talk to her. They say she was in the room at a particularly powerful and precarious moment. They say she likely heard what Donald Trump was saying to Mike Pence on the phone on the morning of January 6th. And in the committee's words, they think she observed at least one side of that telephone conversation, and they want to hear about it.
The prosecutor in Georgia who's investigating possible interference in the 2020 presidential election by former President Trump has asked the judge to appoint a special grand jury. That office is investigating several phone calls Trump made following the election after he lost the state. Former federal prosecutor Laurie Levinson.
Georgia could be headed towards a recommendation by its own grand jury to seek some type of criminal charges against former President Trump.
Today marks the first anniversary of President Biden's being sworn into office. CBS's Natalie Brand says after some highs, he faces some major challenges.
President Biden marked 1 year in office by focusing on his biggest legislative win to date, the bipartisan physical infrastructure law.
We demonstrated that Democrats and Republicans can actually work together to get something done.
Though some of his biggest priorities remain stalled, from voting rights to his massive social and climate spending plan.
Following Saturday's hostage situation at a Texas synagogue, FBI Director Christopher Wray says the agency understands that such acts are terrifying to the Jewish community.
This was not some random occurrence. It was intentional. It was symbolic. And we're not going to tolerate anti-Semitism in this country.
The NCAA's just-approved Constitution sends more power to its member schools and the conferences they belong to.
The document is pared down, less complicated, and it was approved by about 8 in 10 member schools. It's also the first major revision since 1996. The organization's 3 divisions will now essentially govern themselves. NCAA President Mark Emmert calls it a declaration of independence. Division 1 schools face the biggest changes, mostly involving compensation for their athletes, and a so-called Transformation Committee starts its work on that next week. Peter King, CBS News.
The Dow on this Thursday lost 313. The NASDAQ was down 186 points. S&P losing 50. This is...
Well, that's today's news. Today's news. I didn't hear any good news, did you? I didn't think so. I guess it's all about perspective. The glass is half full. Well, as always, I want to thank you again for coming along with me on these Dash Cam News adventures. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody.